This morning, putting the rabbit in the hat. It's the memoir of longtime actor Brian Cox, who's achieved a new level of fame 50 years into his career. The title comes from Cox's belief that if the stage isn't set properly, whatever comes next won't be either. He would know. After spending decades as a leading man on stage in England, he moved to America for the second phase of his life, excelling as a character actor in movies like Manhunter, Rob Roy, and the cult classic Super Troopers. But it's his latest role as Logan Roy on the HBO series Succession that has turned him into a household name.
Which one of you boys did it? Tom!
Yes?
Sit on the floor. It's fun.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's a game. Boar on the floor.
Succession is all about who comes next in the family business. But right now, no one watching wants him to leave.
Feed the piggies, guest of honor!
Brian Cox has devoured the role of media magnate Logan Roy.
The last piggy to eat a sausage is the mole.
A character who tries in his own unique way to prepare the next generation. In real life, Cox's dad never got the chance.
It was a shock, a hell of a shock. I mean, he went away one day and he was gone. I mean, he died within 3 weeks of his diagnosis.
Cox was only 8 years old when his father died of cancer.
I was distressed, of course, because he was my daddy. I was very distressed. They didn't want me to go to the funeral. So they put me in front of the television. And I sat that whole afternoon watching TV. Do you regret that they didn't want you to go? No, I don't regret it, actually, because television is a great comforter to me. So I associate television with comfort and salving me in some kind of way.
After his dad's passing, the family was left destitute, and Cox's mother suffered through mental illness and shock therapy. Left independent far too early, he writes in his memoir that he found inspiration on the screen, including from a late, great British actor.
I was 14, and there was this film called Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, which had been a big success, and this actor called Albert Finney.
Bring out your dead Ansader.
Oh, it's you, Arthur. Come on in, love.
Where's the tribe?
Gone to pictures.
And I took myself to the Plaza Cinema, walked in, and I just saw him on the screen, and I thought, oh, thank God I can do it. It is possible, because this guy clearly does it. And he was astonishing. Without Albert, a lot of us would not exist.
Scotland will always be home. This is home now, too?
Yeah, it's become home. I'm peripatetic, home is where the work is.
For more than 3 decades, his work was on the stages of England, where Cox was the quintessential leading man. Until he made the move to Hollywood movies.
I want you to help me, Dr. Lecter.
The original Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter.
You want to know how he's choosing them, don't you?
Braveheart.
It was the same for me and your daddy when our father was killed.
The Jason Bourne films.
Do you hear me? He's still out there. Now get him. Get Jason.
And Churchill, just to name a few.
The passage of the sea has been made with far less loss than we apprehended.
Then, in 2018, Succession creator Jesse Armstrong gave Cox, at age 72, what may be the role of a lifetime, Logan Roy.
Go.
Okay, me?
Both of you. One who fixes it gets a cookie.
Logan and I have one thing in common. We are very disenchanted with the human experiment. The difference is I'm an optimist, and Logan is a pessimist. And he's a misanthrope. I'm not a misanthrope, because my job is to understand and really like humanity. You say he does villainous things, but he's not a villain. What does that mean? I don't think he's a villain. I think he's as human as the rest of us, but he has incredible shortcomings.
3 years ago, you were still in the nut house.
Dad, it's called rehab, and I'm in recovery.
The key to Logan is that, as Jesse said to me very early on, because I was saying, the first question I asked him, I said, does he love his children? This man who's behaved so extraordinary, he said, that's the point. He loves his children. And once you have that, once you know that that's what Logan is, then what's happening is incredibly painful and incredibly difficult for Logan, though he doesn't go anywhere near there.
I'm stuck in quicksand. My family have disappeared. The world is wobbling here.
That's why it's a beautifully written character, and it's full of mystery, so we don't always know what's going on, which I love. I love that aspect, so the audience are not being fed stuff. They're having to just make assumptions, and sometimes the audience make the wrong assumption, because those kids can be right pains in the ass.
You think? You think?
All he's trying to do is find a successor for his business. That's all the guy's trying to do.
All right. Let's get started.
Equally as extensive as Cox's list of film and stage roles,
He's one of the worst students we've got.
his political and personal commentary.
You come out of this book swinging with a story about Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Well, no, that's not true.
That is true.
Well, yeah, wait a minute. No. Ostensibly not a fan. I mean, he's not an actor. Good God. I mean, I do have sympathy for Steven, because he's a Buddhist with an ulcer, you know. And I do have sympathy for him, actually, because I just felt there's something neglected about him.
There's a long list of actors who you comment on.
Yeah.
I won't name
it's
them.
It's not a
all.
long list. It's a reasonably brief list. Believe you me, the list could be a hell of a lot longer.
You wear your politics often on your sleeve.
It's the only weird place to wear them.
Sure. I think a lot of it is fighting for middle-class folks, working-class folks, who may have been overlooked.
Well, if you come from a feudal system, which is what I do, I mean, my country is feudal. This was the great attraction for me of America. I mean, not just the work attraction, but the idea, and unfortunately it's somewhat missing, is the egalitarian idea, that this is supposedly an egalitarian society. And that was the attraction for me, because I was the voice of Blair. I was the voice of Labour in the '97 election, and that was the most exciting time of my life. And then I saw what happened in Iraq, weapons of mass destruction, which didn't exist. It's just crazy what we've done, and irresponsible. It's totally irresponsible. And Blair, I saw Blair on a program say, "Oh, I didn't know what the effects would be." Well, then you're not thinking properly, man. Anyway, don't get me on that. I get hot in the collars.
It's such difficult to get you exercise.
Yeah, it is. But it's good to be exercised. I mean, at least I'm not a bland old man.
No, you are not.
No, he ain't.
Far from it.
He's got fire in his belly.
Yeah, and he likes you.
All the time. We had a great conversation, and some of the stories about his days in theater, his decades in theater, are really wonderful in the book. There's so much we couldn't put in here. He's actually adding an addendum to when the next version comes out of the book, so we can put even some more of this in context when he talks about
not more
the
names,
the
the
actors.
I love it.
Who he's not afraid to talk about at all.